Prison was
an epiphany, an eye-opener for me.
Prison was helpful.
A blessing.
a bad place to be.
For me, prison was a learning experience. It was a place of discipline.
It was life-changing.
Prison gave me the time to fix myself, to correct myself, to work on the things that I needed to do. I had a lot of issues.
For hundreds of convicted murderers in Pennsylvania, this was their childhood home. The high fences, the razor wire, the guards. And for most of them, this is where they planned to spend their adulthood, where they'd retire, and where they'd die. Juvenile lifers with no way out. Like Gregory Sourbeer, who when he was 14, shot and killed his mother as she was watching TV at their home in Columbia, Lancaster County. And Michael Bourgeois. He was 17 when he tied up his adoptive mother and stepfather, then brutally tortured and killed them. Tabitha Buck was 17 when she helped kill a high school classmate. Zachary Whitman was 15 when he stabbed and slashed his brother to death. Dante Chambers robbed a college student of drugs, while others lured that student into the woods, shot him, and set him on fire. Alec Kreider broke into his friend's house, murdering his friend and his friend's parents for a motive still never made public. And the list goes on. Larry Markle, Emru Kabede, Darren Nesbitt, Warren Batty Jr., and Michael Lehman. 523 of them originally sentenced to live out their lives in Pennsylvania state prisons.
Everybody deserves a chance, a second chance.
And Robert Hammond has talked with them all.
They have your personal number?
They have my office number, yes. So they call the office, they leave, they all have my email address, they all email me when things are going wrong or if things are going right.
How often do you hear from them?
Probably every week.
He manages the state's juvenile lifer program and has met with each lifer as they started the resentencing process.
They are not the juveniles that they were when they committed the crime. And because of that, we believe, or I believe, that they deserve a second chance.
That second chance granted by the U.S. Supreme Court. In 2012, the court ruled that life sentences without parole for anyone under 18 were cruel and unusual punishment, a violation of their Eighth Amendment rights, and could no longer be handed down. Another ruling 4 years later threw out all life without parole sentences for juveniles across the country, forcing them to be resentenced, with parole now an option. Because of these rulings, so far, nearly 200 juvenile lifers in Pennsylvania have been released.
How did you feel when you were hit with the reality that you were home?
Dozens of them meet every week in Philadelphia at this support group.
I'm still very apprehensive about nighttime.
I'm so fearful. Like I'm scared of like just being, this being a dream.
Wow. Has anybody else experienced that?
Here, lifers who've been paroled for several years can mentor those just coming out. And some meet for the first time here as free people. While these men and women have stayed out of trouble, not all have. We requested data from the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections that shows, as of June 2019, 9% of the juvenile lifers released, or 17 of them, have violated parole. 3%, or 6 lifers, were rearrested by police, including for drugs, terroristic threats, and assaulting a child.
Is that a concern, that you do have some that are reoffending?
There's always a concern with any population that you deal with. We monitor all of our juvenile lifers closely until we feel comfortable enough where the juvenile lifer in question is actually proven that he's going to be successful.
The reoffending rate among juvenile lifers is substantially lower than in the general prison population, where statewide about 60% of all parolees get rearrested within a few years of being released.
Broad-based sentencing structures
But the state's lead voice for crime victims, Jen Storm, warns to not celebrate the juvenile lifer stat too much yet.
And at some point, the cameras will go away, some of the immediate resources will go away, and are these people equipped to succeed? And I don't think we're going to know that for 3-5 years.
Storm says while she believes the parole program as a whole is working, It's still an experiment in Pennsylvania, and she doesn't want others to get hurt because of it.
Hey, man, you guys are doing good, though. You know what I mean? You're doing good. Everybody's doing good.
Neither does Robert Hammond, who knows what it's like to be on the other side of a juvenile lifer's crime.
Oh, yeah.
When he was younger, one of his friends was killed by a juvenile lifer.
Where's Garcia?
And Hammond, in his current role, met with that man to discuss his resentencing and ultimate release.
We were actually able to get closure, actually, for both of us. And the day that he released, he promised me that, you know, he will make good, and he has been making good ever since.
Prison is prison. Prison yesterday, today, and tomorrow are all going to be the same. Now imagine 30 years of the same day over and over and over. And that's prison.
Michael Lehman has been trapped in that prison loop for 10,931 days, and the last 19 should be easier than the first few hundred were. That's when he learned a rebellious, stubborn teenager does not fit into a system that's made to be regimented, controlled, and adult.
I thought to myself and said, Mike, you have to take responsibility for your actions. I came to the realization, okay, I'm probably in prison for the rest of my life, more than likely. Just because I'm in here doesn't mean I can't have some quality of life.
So he tried to make the most of the life sentence he'd been handed. He got his GED and then worked to help fellow inmates get theirs. He took architectural drafting classes, worked in the prison carpentry shop, and served a few stints as president of the Prison Lifers Association. But the Miller court decision changed everything. For the first time, he started to really think about living outside those high prison walls. And when a judge changed his sentence from life without parole to a 30-year minimum, he could finally start to plan for it.
One of the things I've said is, when I'm finally home, that I would set my alarm for midnight and then get up in the middle of the night and just walk outside. Because I can. I have not been outside past 10 o'clock in 30 years.
So I was thinking we could just put his stuff for tomorrow in this bag.
At his sister's house, a home Michael has never seen, she and his mom are filling a bag with Michael's new life.
You can wear this one.
Clothes and shoes he'll change into as he leaves his prison jumpsuit and shackles behind.
I still can't believe he's going to wear this stuff tomorrow. It feels like dressing a baby to take them home from the hospital. Except for he's a pretty big baby.
Long gestation.
They have been waiting for this day for 30 years as well, even though they didn't know if it would ever come.
Because this was never supposed to happen, ever. He was in there to wait until he died, and we were just here to keep him company until he died.
It's been a long road.
But they're ready to get to know Michael on the outside.
There it is. He's packed.
I guess you'd call it like bittersweet, because you have that bitterness of what happened and you can't undo. You can't unring the bell. You can't bring someone back to life. But there's that sweetness of seeing him be able to be a part of the world again.
So from yesterday? That definitely makes it real. Yeah, definitely.
30 years of waiting and hoping have led to this. A rainy morning at Rockview State Prison, but for Michael, it could not be a more beautiful day, because for the first time since he was 14 years old, he's about to experience it as a free person. The waiting is over. Michael Lehman, now 44 years old, is a prisoner no more. He's dreamt about how this moment would be and how he wanted his first taste of freedom to actually taste good. So on his way home, he and his family stopped at the closest greasy spoon they could find.
Are you used to being told what to do?
Yes. Well, they actually have it here. 2 eggs, home fries, 4 strips of bacon.
Choices and the freedom to make them all around him. And as basic as it sounds, making choices for himself is something he'll have to get used to.
I don't know what to eat first. It's so good. It's so good. I'm actually a lot calmer than I thought I was going to be. Yeah.
This is Michael's first family meal since childhood.
We don't
The first meal in decades where he can take as long as he wants.
Yeah, I'm waiting. That's my dessert.
And where no guards are watching him.
I feel free. I feel like I'm outside. I feel like I'm no longer confined. And it's awesome.
He's feeling a lot of things in this first day of freedom, including, on the way back home to York County,
trying to ease you.
a little carsick. Over the last 30 years, he's only been on the road a handful of times, mostly to and from court, and always handcuffed. The feeling could also be a bit of nerves and excitement, as the realization that he is home for good sinks in.
That is exactly what I did on mine. Exactly.
The clock on the next phase of his life has started, and he has a lot of ground to make up.
You're right.
First up, how to use a smartphone.
I put it under company.
And how to process what is happening.
I'm happy. I'm excited. You know, I know I may not seem really excited. I'm not a hugely outward, emotional person, but I'm really excited. I'm really happy. This is a lot. Okay.
Michael can already feel, though, what is riding on his freedom and the pressure to not slip up and jeopardize the release of the next lifer waiting in line.
We have to get it right. And I think most juvenile lifers feel that responsibility. The door's open a crack. If nothing else, let's make sure that crack doesn't close. And if we can, let's push the door open a little more.
Hopefully that clarifies a little bit why.
But how are juvenile lifers expected to stay on the straight and narrow? And could putting on a pair of goggles make all the difference? Next.